So in my last video, I talked about Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, and Larry Ellison teaming up with Northrop Grumman and potentially trillionaires to fire a laser weapon system at the state of Hawaii. And it sounded crazy. I thought I had a lot of proof then. I thought I had a convincing video then. But what we have learned in the past week or two since I've made the video, what I've learned, what the residents of Hawaii have dug up, what they've released to the internet, has made my theory, well, I won't say a theory, it seems like it's pretty much just truth and we're reporting on it at this point. I'm going to include a few videos of testimonies of residents of Maui talking to a board of Maui improvement, some bureaucratic ensemble of rich business people from Maui. But what they have to say is actually pretty heartbreaking and very important. Some are emotional, some are factual, some are a little bit out there, kind of angry and crazy. But I think they all make fantastic points.
You guys work for us. You guys work for us. I don't know if you guys forget. You know, 1,000 people could come up here and say that they want something. I mean, the way it looks, you guys just go with what is going to further your political career. It's just like we come here to talk about something and then you guys start fighting back with us. You work for us. You don't talk to your boss like that, right? Who talks to their boss like that? Nobody talks to their boss like that. Oh, you cannot go talk to him because he got security. Look at Josh Green, how weak man. What happened? I came inside, what? He got to go check his BVDs? What is going on? He's supposed to
Please not that. Let's not do that. This is not that kind of a meeting. It's not a political meeting or a campaign meeting.
Yeah, no,
this is serious business.
But you saying that is very, that really bothers me. You're not being a waiter. You talk to your boss like that. I'm your boss. And for real, these people, they are your boss. Shame is when you do something behind everybody's back. Enough is enough, huh? No. More screwing over the people of Hawaii. More, you know, how much, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to talk about Green. That's your guy's leader. He's not even here. He's a guy, he only signs the bill to further his political career. So what is next? He let go for president. And that's what you guys look for. Oh, that's the guy I look up to. The guy who screws everybody over to get to the top.
I've given testimony so many times. And most of the time, it's like this. Backs are turned. People don't listen. You look like you're sleeping. Where's the emotion? Where's your heart? And when you think about these actions, when you think about the work you do, think about all those people, like this guy on his phone right now. It's insulting. It's insulting. Do not forget the people. And Green's actions right there, getting taken out by his handler, come on, guys. I saw all your faces. I think some of you were shocked too, except for the people whispering in the front, because he warned you he was going to walk away. You want to know why? Because he never wants to hear our voices. He wants to silence us every time. He does not listen. I am asking all of you at this table to make sure he listens. But we know very well that you guys, as the third largest stakeholders, the state, do want that land and can take it when you deem it a natural disaster. And that is disgusting. And that is why I'm also here today, because someone needs to call that out. We wanted the samples right away. You guys stopped the people from going in.
Each of you sitting around this table, is your name listed as a stakeholder of any of the redevelopment plans regarding a smart city? I can tell you, Department of Planning, DLNR, DBED, Housing, all of these agencies, and I'm not saying to you directly, but you're here representing these agencies, therefore, it is your responsibility to tell the truth. Each one of these agencies have signed on as stakeholders for the redevelopment of a smart city in Maui.
Just want to remind you guys that you guys work for us.
Now, after watching those interviews, the one guy's interview just kind of stood out to me because he said to all the people in this room who has ties to these companies that are talking about a smart city. And that got me wondering, what is this smart city he's talking about? It seemed like it was just kind of general knowledge in the room. So I did a little digging. And one of the things I came up with is right here at Hitachi. I believe it's the same Hitachi group that makes tools and other electrical components and things. Pretty sure they're out of Japan. But one of their case studies was the new smart grid in Hawaii, which not necessarily a bad thing to have a smart grid, except the state of Hawaii's goal is to obtain 40% of its electric power generation from renewable energy sources by 2030. Hitachi recently announced that it's begun operations on the demonstration site for the Japan-US Island Grid Project, commonly referred to as the Jump Smart Maui, on the island of Maui, Hawaii, in a collaboration with the New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, NEDO for short, Mizuho Bank Limited, and Cyber Defense Institute Incorporated. An opening ceremony was held, blah blah blah. Not important. What is important are these names listed here. Well, first of all, they're trying to build a Japan-US Island Grid Project. So that automatically makes you assume that the Japan and US government agencies have probably gotten together to make some sort of collaborative grid project. But that's not the case. It's the case is it's mainly these three companies along with Hitachi that are funding the redevelopment of Hawaii. Well, Maui in particular. I haven't looked into the other islands. They're probably doing it there too. If we look into these companies, the New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, that just sounds foul, to be honest with you. It sounds convoluted and a way to get people to ask what you do, and you can just say the name over and over again, and people won't ask questions anymore. So let's look and see what they have going on. NEDO is a national research and development agency in Japan that creates innovation by promoting technological development necessary for blah blah blah. The largest public management organization promoting research and development, as well as deployment of industrial, energy, and environmental technologies, as well as the deployment of industrial, energy, and environmental technologies. That's interesting. Okay, so that's kind of red flag number 1 for the day. It's about red flag number 20 on the entire Maui situation, but for the day, we'll call this red flag number 1. Now, we'll go back here. The next name on our list here was Mizuho Bank, which, you know, whenever there's a bank funding a project on an entire island in a state, seems a little suspicious, especially when it's called Mizuho, because I'm kind of sensing this might be from Japan. What is this? Cyber Defense. Oh, clicked the wrong one, boys. So, the Mizuho Bank is the integrated retail and corporate banking unit of Mizuho Financial Group, the third largest financial services company in Japan, with total assets of approximately $1.8 trillion in 2017, one of three so-called Japanese megabanks. So this is specifically a retail banking corporation that funds retail shopping centers and corporate business centers. Oh, and did I mention trillion-dollar companies? I told you in the last video that Bezos and Oprah probably teamed up with some trillionaires. Now, I may have jumped the gun on the BlackRock and the Vanguard, but I think I might have gotten it right on the trillionaire companies, just the wrong country. So let's go back to our list of suspicious activity Hitachi gave us. And we're going to go to the Cyber Defense Institute. Now, you might be like, what does that have to do with anything? I guess we are building a smart grid. You would want some cyber defense. Let's go see what they're all about. These guys, network and wireless vulnerability. If your organization is subject to security audits by regulatory bodies, we'll take care of that. Okay, that's a little sus. Computer services, vulnerability assets, penetration training, testing. Okay, that's probably cyber-related penetration testing. You get all the way down here. Disaster recovery and incident response planning. Now, what does a cybersecurity company have to do with disaster recovery and incident response planning? Just red flag number 3 on the day. But we'll go ahead and play this video for you here.
Why can't we pull energy out of thin air?
No matter where you go around the world, reducing our impact on the environment and decreasing our dependence on fossil fuels is on everyone's mind. But how do you do it in a way that's going to benefit the most people? That was the question Hitachi asked before initiating the Jump Smart Maui project. This initiative demonstrates how electric vehicles, smart grids, and renewable energy like wind and sun can benefit Maui's residents, and it underlines the positive impact that Hitachi is making on the environment.
It's our future.
It's our future. There's a whole lot of nothing in that video, if you ask me. It just seemed like a generic throw together to hide the fact that they're buying Maui and doing whatever they want with it as a guise of making a smart grid to futurize and future-proof the land and get them ready for electric cars when the residents barely have enough to live as it is, as if they're about to start buying electric cars. No, what they're trying to future-proof is all the people, the rich people that want to live there, that want to move from the States, from foreign countries. They want to live in Maui, but they want to have nice electric cars while they live in Maui in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Why shouldn't they have energy-driven cars? Why can't we just build a nuclear reactor here? Just do this and just do that. But we'll move on to our next segment, and red flag. If I don't know what's higher than red flag at this point, we're just gonna call it red flag. Maybe like garnet flag, almost black, praying for help flag from Mother Earth. But straight from the Maui government office, I forgot the exact website. I'll try to leave it down in the description if I remember. It was, you can look this up, Directed Growth Plan, Chapter 8. And it is on their archive files. And this is a long read. Guys, I read this whole freaking thing so I can pick out a few of the prime pages of this to... What it basically says is, we want to sell Hawaii. We want to sell Maui. We are 10,000 houses short, though. And all these residents, they already own these houses. So what do we do? How are we going to sell houses to people when we don't have houses? We need 10,182 is the number they quote. The number of houses that they're short. Oh, that was somewhere else. Yeah, so it's 10,854. My apologies. So their projected 2030 housing demand is 83,659. The existing housing stock is 54,000, which seems quite a lot. But regardless, they're predicting they're going to need an extra 11,000 houses. So how do they get these houses? Where did this land come from? There's only certain areas that you really can build on, where you really can build on and hope that it's going to be there for more than 5 years. So they can't build in protected areas. The Maui Island Plan will be the first time urban, small town, and rural growth boundaries have been established in Maui County. These boundaries will encompass approximately 2,991 acres of new planned urban growth areas. The directed growth maps show urban, small town, and rural growth boundaries. The space inside these boundaries is referred to as urban, small town, and rural growth areas respectively. These boundaries are depicted with the lines on the directed growth maps. The growth boundary lines separate a growth area from a non-growth area. So this is just laying out all of these maps that are in this whole freaking 80-page document. But main thing here is they have 2,991 acres of new planned urban growth areas. Which, okay, well, let's just go take a look-see at where all this area will be. Well, we have West Maui, which Lahaina's right about here, where the worst fire was. We have Kihei Makina region, which Kihei has, somewhere in here has a pretty major fire. And there's another fire over here, I believe, in the Kula Upland region. I think it's mountainous right here. I'm not from Maui. I've never pretended to be from Maui. I've just looked at a lot of maps and looked at a lot of geographical places. On to the sketch of the human scale development, which is literally colored in with a crayon, and not even colored inside the lines or colored completely. It's actually scribbled in with a crayon. And this is a professional Maui County general plan that was on the Maui County government website that's run by the government. Like, you cannot have a sketch that looks like Dilbert cartoons as your plan. This coming from someone that is an architect and draws blueprints for a living and has to deal with all sorts of bureaucratic agencies to get drafts and designs, and even hand-drawn ones. They have to be more detailed than this. This is laughable. Like, oh, we want a shopping area with a generic person here, and generic kids, and then more generic people walking with a baby stroller, and generics. No names on the stores, no plans. We don't even know what these trees are going to be. We're just going to say there's some trees here. That doesn't look like a Maui tree to me. I don't know. It doesn't look very tropical to me, to be honest with you. It looks like an oak tree from South Carolina. But I digress. Anyways, on to the maps. Key High, one of the regions that we had burnt up, though, there's a fire that was here. It burned a lot of this area. And a lot of this area that was burnt coincides with this planned growth area. I'll zoom in on this map for you guys. You don't need to read. So remember, all this area with orange bars is the planned growth area, the 3,000 acres that they want to either seize from protected areas or from residents or unused area. I doubt it was unused area, but they would like to expand here. And it gets worse as you go down. Okay. Well, we've covered Key High now, so we'll just go to the number one damning red flag that I found in this whole situation. Is this right here. We have another map, this one for Lahaina. And it looks like, from my research, what they want to say, well, I'm not going to say this isn't what happened, but there seemed to be a lot of power lines that were swaying. I watched a lot of videos. There were terrific wind forces that day. The power lines were swinging dramatically. Now, this does not disprove that the laser was fired, because there's some areas where it looks very targeted with fire versus completely eradicated by fire in other areas, which coincides with a wildfire more so than a energy weapon. But I digress. The orange barred area expansion. This is where they wanted to expand. This right here. One of the main areas that was burned. A lot of this area right here untouched. A lot of this wind were coming from here to here, blowing straight down this valley. And a lot of the fire got concentrated, blown right here. I watched a lot of people on these jetties that stick out, abandoning this freaking road because it was absolutely packed with people. Now, whether that's from down power lines, whether government officials shut down the roads, I'm not 100% certain. All I do know is the roads were closed for some reason. There were just lines of traffic. They couldn't move. People were just sitting still. Many people died sitting still in their cars, which, not to speak ill of the dead, but if you're ever in a situation like that and you see fire coming, you run away from the fire, but especially when there's an ocean away from the fire, just get out here. It's astounding to me how many people will stick with their cars even when it's hindering their escape opportunities. Like walking, there's so many different routes. When they're on the road, they were just sitting still. And there were skeletons found in vehicles, children's skeletons, where parents didn't get them out of the vehicles, told them to hunker down. But this whole area, they want to expand the entire. This was one of the ones that surprised me the most, because it seems like most of that 3,000 acres they want to expand is all in Lahaina. A lot of it is right in here. Well, right here, and right here. But the fires were here. So kind of seems to me they just, we'll just connect this and we'll just expand all of this. They really want to make this new Lahaina bypass too, which is this is a proposed road, by the way, this teal looking line. That's not a real road. That's what they want to make, a new highway interstate that goes around the city, even though it's not a huge city in the first place. I would say it doesn't really need a bypass. But we'll go back and recap here. So the residents of Hawaii opened my eyes a little bit more to the corruption in their local government. I'm looking more into each one of these people at this board meeting. Each one of these people owns a corporation, and they all own different things, and those things own things. So I'm trying to find ties between these Maui government planning board and all the companies affiliated with them, if they have any ties to this Hitachi plan for the smart grid in Hawaii, or a so-called smart city in Hawaii, or the plans to turn Maui into one giant smart city, which another resident seems to think is happening. Regardless, Hitachi is funding, alongside New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, or NEDO for short, Mizuho Bank Limited, and Cyber Defense Institute Incorporated, are funding the new smart grid in Hawaii. The NEDO Corp is Japan's largest public management organization. Mizuho Bank is the third largest bank, $1.8 trillion assets bank, I should add. And then a small cybersecurity consulting company from Syracuse, New York. This is the one I want to kind of look into a little bit more, and why they're on board with these trillion-dollar companies, and Japan and Syracuse, New York teaming up to buy Maui, potentially with Jeff Bezos and Oprah. But all of these for a directed growth plan that was pitched in 2020 for the expected growth through the year 2030, where they call for nearly 3,000 acres of land and almost 11,000 new houses to be built to accommodate off-island transactions, they called them, to sell their island to rich people that aren't Hawaiian, is what I'm saying. Over here I have Kihei, one of the main fire regions, and its planned growth area that's probably a direct overlay with the fires. I haven't looked completely yet. And then the town of Lahaina, which was struck the worst. Almost complete utter devastation in some areas, and then nicer neighborhoods completely untouched somehow. Regardless of how the fire started, whether it was swinging power lines and a negligent power company, or if it was indeed some of the world's richest teaming up with trillion-dollar corporations to fire energy weapons at the United States of America. Something's going on here, guys, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. It might take me 10 videos, it might take me 100. But me and all the town residents of Lahaina and all the residents of Maui, the natives and the non-natives, The ones that are pissed off the most, the ones that have nothing left to lose. We're going to find these bastards. We're going to hold them accountable. Doesn't matter how rich they are, how much money they have, how many giant lasers in the sky they have. We're going to find out why Lahaina burned and why Kihei burned. And if it had anything to do with a directed growth plan, or with Hitachi and their new smart grid, or potentially Jeff Bezos and Oprah, or a combination of all of these, which is probably what it is. But for now, I gotta get back to researching and editing this video. So peace out, guys. Have a good night.